हाय गाइस, क्या आप सभी लोग मुझे देख सकते हैं? कैन यू ऑल सी मी? कैन यू ऑल हियर मी? Am I audible? Am I visible? Let me just check whether I am audible or not, and then we can start the class. Okay, let me just see if I am audible or not, if I am visible or not. Okay, so yes, I think I am audible, and I think the stream is also fine. Okay, so yes, I think. So guys, let a few people join in. Let a few people join in, then we'll start the class. Just we'll wait for 2 more minutes so that everyone can catch up, and then we'll start the class. Okay, so I think everything is now working fine. Let us now begin with our today's discussion, and I welcome you all to this crash course named as Political Science and International Relations on Unacademy, and this is presented to you by me, Sumit Kapoor. I am a permanent full-time optional faculty on Unacademy, and I take complete PSIR optional as well as various GS main subjects. You can follow me on Unacademy to get all the latest updates about my courses. These are the courses which are coming in future. From 2nd November, I am starting a complete new course for PSIR optional for 2021 students. So those who want to prepare can join me on Unacademy Plus. So what are the benefits, guys, of getting Unacademy Plus? You know that very well that with one subscription you can get everything. Unacademy is the one-stop solution for complete UPSC CSE preparation. Right from structured batches to 100% syllabus coverage, optional, test series, prelims, mains, everything from current affairs to essay to interview. Everything will be comprehensively covered. So just you need to get one subscription and you can access all the courses of all the educators. How you need to get the subscription? Just go to the download the Unacademy Learning app, go to get subscription, then click on the 24th or the 12-month subscription, whichever you want. Just apply the referral code, the PSIR Club, and and get a discount of 10%. So from 64,000, the fees reduces to 57,600. And this is the referral code. If you apply this, you will get 10% off. 10% off you will be getting it. What are the other benefits is that daily there is a current affair test series which is going on. You can also enroll in that. Also, these are the YouTube channels of Unacademy. You can join them as well. YouTube, Unacademy UPSC Current Affair, Unacademy Articulate, Unacademy Laksh, Unacademy Expedition, and the following Unacademy Articulate. आप टेलीग्राम पे भी you can contact us, and this is the ID. So let us start our discussion. And in the last series of last class of this lecture series, we were discussing about how should we prepare for the optional. We were discussing about preparing for the optional, and in today's class we will be starting about the paper 2. We'll be covering few important concepts of international relations, and we'll try to understand that how can we go about this particular paper. We'll be starting with paper number 2. Let me just change the marker. Okay. So what is the main course of paper 2? In paper 2, we have to study about the key concepts of IR. We have to study about the key concepts of IR and in its application in the context of India. Good morning, Bhagat. Welcome to the class. How are you doing? I can see you. So let us now start off with a few concepts of political science. Let us start off with a few concepts of international relations. And the first concept which we will be studying, we will be going about is the concept of security. We will be covering about security. We will be covering about concepts like national interest. We will be covering about concepts like collective security. See, these are the basic terms. If you are reading the newspapers regularly, then these are the terms which you will be getting oftenly in your day-to-day life. So let us now start off with the first concept in IR, and let us begin with the concept of power. Let us start off with power. First we can cover the concept of power, and then we can proceed to the following topics. Why is this not working, man? Okay, let us start off with the concept of power. Now see, if someone asks you very basic question that how do you define power? How do you define power? The first thing is you need to understand that power cannot be defined in absolute sense. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by sense? Just like the marks, just like the marks, just like the rank, just like the ranks. Now I can say that I have got very good marks, very good marks, and but your marks are 10 out of 100. But but still they are considered good. Why? Because everyone has got less than 10 marks. That means you are the topper. You are the topper, right? But same 10 marks can also be called as a bad marks. When everybody is getting 80 marks, you are getting 10 marks. So are you understanding what I am trying to say? That power, just like height, it is a relative concept. It is a relative concept, isn't it? That I have this much power, I have that much power. But bro, in context of whom are you talking about? Like I can say India has is a great power, but considered to what? Sri Lanka, Nepal. But when I say India has more power, can I say US? No, India has less power as compared to US. So whenever there is a concept of power, there is always a relation. Is this clear? Is this clear? It is a relativistic concept. It is always a relational and a relative concept. Relative concept. You can never say that in absolute sense. Is this clear, guys? Is this clear? Am I absolutely clear on this? Okay. So we have started our discussion on power. Now, second question which comes to my mind, sir, what actually is power? What is power? This was the few characteristics I was discussing. What actually is power? See, power, if you want to define, that is simply the ability to influence the other person. If you can influence the other person, you have power over the other person. But sir, influencing for what? Influencing the other to do what you want him to do, irrespective of his or her will. Irrespective of his or her will. If you can influence him, if you can get your work done, you exercise power over the other person. Ability to influence the other person against his or her will. That is called as power. That is simply, you can say, power. Now, there was one scholar in political science called as Morgenthau. And Morgenthau has described the entire international politics as nothing but a struggle for power. It is nothing but struggle for power. All the international actors are trying their very hard to influence the other person. They are trying their best. How can I influence the other one? That is simply what international politics is all about. And this has been said by the famous classical realist scholar called as Morgenthau. Is this clear, everyone? Is this clear? I think this is also clear. Okay. Now see, again, the concept of power is also, we have studied, it's a relational concept. It is a relativistic concept. It is also a evolving concept. That means with time and space, the characteristics and nature of power has been changing. It has been changing. How, sir? Can you please give me an example? Sure, why not? See, in the traditional times, In the traditional times, power was nothing. Power was nothing but, I can say, militaristic power. We used to influence the other using force, isn't it or not? Force, attack, capture their territory, ask them to surrender. That is what power was. That is what power was. That was the traditional concept of power. That is also called as military power or physical power. But in current times, we see the nature of power is changing. How the nature of power is changing? How the nature of power is changing? That now there are new form of power emerging, and from hard power we are moving towards called as soft power. We are from the power of force, we are moving towards the power of love, the power of attraction, the power of consent, and this is what is called as soft power. The concept of soft power have been was given by a scholar called as Joseph Nye. Joseph Nye had given the concept of power, where he talks about the irrelevance, or you can say the outdatedness outdatedness of hard power. In today's world, the world is complex interdependence, the world is interdependence. There have been new forms of power like soft power. Then we have another form of power which is the combination of both the hard power as well as the soft power, and this is called as smart power. Smart power. Similarly, we have another form of power which is the ability to adapt, the ability to become very agile and change according to the situation. That is called as fast power. This concept was given by John Chipman. Similarly, we have new form of power called as, you can say, sharp power. That is the power of propaganda, the power of influencing through media, through internet. So that is called as sharp power. So that is how you can say Chipman, sharp power, fast power, hard power, soft power, smart power. This is how the concept of power has been evolving from time to time. So that is why earlier the traditional concept of power was basically the power of force. This is also called as the power of coercion. The power of coercion. But now there is a power of attraction. Is this clear, everyone? I give you just 1 minute. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Yes, Akansha. Bhagat. Any doubts? You can ask me. Next, we'll be discussing the elements of power. Who all are there in class? Please tell me. I think Bhagat is there. Akansha is there. Avinash. Avinash is also there. Okay. Akansha Singh, I can see you. Bhagat Thakur, yes, you are there. Okay. So let us now discuss the concept of elements of power. Let's talk about this. Now, what are the elements? How do you define elements? Elements of power simply means that what are the factors that determine the power. That determine that how much power do you have. Simply, these are the factors which determine your power. So let me just highlight this. And there is a trick to learn the factors. And that factor are called as GPS लगा के time बता TIMI. What did I say? GPS लगा के time बता. And this is the acronym to learn the elements of power. What are the elements? I'll briefly tell you. What is G? So G means geography. The geographical element. The geographical element. Geography determines the power of a country. Its strategic location, where it is located. It is said US is a superpower, not because of what it is, but because of where it is. Where it is. Similarly, there is a scholar named as Robert D. Kaplan. Now he has written a book, and the book is called as, I'm just forgetting the name, I think it's Geography of Peace. Yes, Geography of Peace. And in this book he has mentioned that why it is the destiny of Russia to expand. Why even the politics, the economics, the society, everything of Russia is determined by its geographical location. Everything, right from its authoritarian nature, right from its politics, right from its economy, right from its society. Everything is determined by its geography. And this we need to note down. When I'll teach you Cold War, in my plus classes, when I'll teach you Cold War, I'll explain you that why Russia is like this. Why not Russia goes for democracy? Why not Russia goes for some other form of political government? Why only communist? Why only totalitarianism? There is a reason, and that reason is deeply linked to its geography. Even the Cold War, it is said, was an outcome of geopolitics, geography. It was a fight for the geography. We'll see when we'll study Cold War, then I'll give you some in-depth analysis about this. Next comes P. What is P, sir? P simply stands for the political stability in the country. Now, if a country is highly political stable, then obviously it is very easy to conduct the international affairs. But imagine, just imagine that if a country is very fragile, if a country is suffering from civil war, if there is instability in politics, every day new governments are emerging, then how can you expect the country to pursue the international affairs? It becomes very, very difficult for the country to pursue the politics of international relations. Third is obvious, society, that is social cohesion. Now see, if in a country there is great diversity, then what happens is often there are chances of, you can say, there are chances of cracking the society. There are chances of, you can say, increasing communal tensions between the society. Okay, so it is very tough to form a consensus. And when there is a homogeneous society, just like in the West, we have all whites, we have all Christians, we have all one type of, then it becomes easy to form the consensus. But let us say in societies like of that of South Asia, like that of India, where there is so huge diversity, how can you form the consensus? How can you form the consensus? Then next is laga. Laga means leader. Leadership plays a very important role. Even in the Kautilya in its Saptang theory clearly mentions this, that leadership plays the very central role. This we have studied. Next will next is T. T is technology. Technology, that is a very important element of power. And if you see countries like Israel, countries like US, they have very good technology. They are solely dependent upon export of these technology, and they are following their foreign policy based on these technological developments. Defense, that is a part of technology. Good defense techniques. Israel is known for its very excellent defense products which it exports throughout the world. So technology is also one factor. Is this clear? Everyone, are you there with me? Everyone, who all are there? Okay, Avinash and mm, Akansha Bhagat. Okay, I can see you. I can see you. Let us proceed forward. Let us proceed forward. Next is technology, and next TI. I is intelligence. Now we all know that if the country does not have good intelligence, it is missing out on certain, you can say, certain important aspect of power. Because in today's world, intelligence plays a very key role. In fact, even Kautilya recognizes this, and he had also given way back the system of spies, the system of, you can say, the system of intelligence. So right from the days of Kautilya, intelligence have been a very key factor. And in today's world you can say that intelligence is very important when it comes to measuring the power. And if you see Mossad, that is again a very, very, very important player when it comes to the strength of Israel. Similarly, Russians, they have been very excellent when it comes to gathering of intelligence. In India, we have raw. So in today's time, every country is going for, you can say, such type of intelligence. Then comes military. Now you know that ultimately it is the military. Ultimately, it is the military which has the, you can say, the sole power. All these elements of power are secondary. But if you have a weak military, then you are not considered as a great power. So you have to have a very good military. And then what comes is the power of last I, and that is called as the power of ideas. That is called as the power of ideas. That is, you need to have you need to have the attraction. Your culture, your ideology should be very, 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 very appealing for the rest of the world, so that they automatically get attracted to you. They automatically accept your hegemony. And if you talk about United States of America, they have been very successful. They have been very successful when it comes to making the people attract towards liberalism. Liberalism has become the way of life. The way of life. It has been accepted throughout the world, and even the countries of the East, the third world, they all are adopting. They all are adopting the principles of liberalism. Even China, even China. If you see in terms of economics, it is an open market society. It is said China is an open market. In market, it is an open market. But when it comes to society and politics, it is it is closed. It is closed. So these are the, you can say, certain elements of power which we have discussed. What are, if you revise with me, what is the trick? GPS लगा के टाइम बता, ज्योग्राफी, पॉलिटिक्स, सोसाइटी, लीडर, टेक्नोलॉजी, intelligence, military, and the power of ideas. So that is how we have covered the elements of power. Now let us talk about the determinants of power. What are the determinants of power? See, what is the difference between elements and determinants? Then you can understand this in a much better way. See, when I say that you have got a great opportunity to prepare for UPSC and crack the exam. Let us say you have taken the Unacademy Plus subscription, you have the best faculties of India, you have good financial background, you have everything. But that does not mean you become IS. Why? Why? Because you failed to utilize all these, and that is what is called as determinant. When elements of power are utilized well, they become what is called as determinants of power. Determinants of power. Now see, population, which is a which is an element of power. Sir, where, sir? You did not tell me where is the population, sir. You said GPS लगा के time बता, where was population, sir? Dear, population was in geography. Doesn't geography include human geography? Isn't population a part of human geography? So yes, population is an important element of power. But if we have a young population, that does not mean we automatically become powerful. We need to provide them good skills. We need to provide them excellent training. Then only can I make them a determinant. So are you saying? So elements become determinants only when a country is able to utilize those elements. Same goes for the Middle East. If you see the Middle East country, they have oil, but that is just an element of power. They don't have those technology to exploit that in a very efficient way. So it is basically determinant of power. It is not a determinant of power. Are you getting, guys? Everyone? Is this clear? Are you getting, guys? Everyone? If anyone has any doubts, you can ask me. If anyone has any doubts, you can ask me. I am giving you 2 minutes to ask any doubts, then we'll proceed. Anyone has any doubts? Should we proceed, guys? Forward. I am looking at your comments. Okay, so let us proceed now. I think there are no doubts. Let us move forward. Okay. Now let us discuss the term called as measurement of power. Now see, I already told you that power is a relative and it is a relational concept. It cannot be measured in absolute sense. You just cannot say I have 10 kgs of power. What is this? What nonsense is this? You always say I have high power as compared to B. A has low power compared to B. That is how power is measured. Right? Okay. So you just cannot say like this. So on the basis of these measurements, we have certain characteristics, certain types of powers, certain types of the countries which are characterized into superpower. Now, who is called as a superpower? Now, see, superpower is a country. A is called superpower. If the rest of the countries, even if they get together, they cannot match to the level of A. That is, you can say, a superpower. Next is the okay. Here, example is USA. The second, you can say, is great power. Great powers are the countries which can protect their own interest independently. That is that is on their own. They don't need on their own. They don't need others. Like they don't need to form an alliance. So please can you give me example like Russia, China? These are you can say great powers. Then comes the concept of middle powers. This is the first we studied superpower, then we studied great powers, and this is called as third. That is middle power. Now middle powers are one. Middle powers are one which can protect their interest, but 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 they require the help of others. So they will want others to help them out. Then only they can protect their own interest. And the fourth is you can say the remaining powers, also called as small powers. Like you have small island countries, Sri Lanka, Maldives, like that. Okay. So Bhutan and etc. So we have four type of powers. Superpowers, one who can protect their interest even if the rest of the world combines against them. Second is the great powers who can protect their interest on their own. They don't need to form any alliance. The third is the middle power. They can protect their interest, but they want help of others. Acha, example of this is India. Example of this is India, Germany, Japan. We need to form alliance, right? Like Japan is protection gets protection from USA. Okay, so this is the concept of the you can say measurement of powers and classification based on the measurement of such type of powers. Let us now discuss some more concepts in political science, and let us talk about what I can say. We have discussed, right? We have discussed the types of power. I think we have discussed the types of power. I'll quickly revise. If you don't know, we have discussed the types of power, and in types of power we have talked about the concept of hard power, that is the power of force. Then we have discussed the power of soft power, that is the power of attraction, the power of love, the power of culture, the power of ideology. Then we have talked about the term called as hard plus soft, that is smart power. This is also given by Joseph Nye. That is a combination of both hard power and the soft power. Then we have talked about the fourth called as fast power, that is ability to become very agile, ability to adjust to the situation, something, and this is being given by John Chipman. Speed has become the determinant of power, and at present time, it is not survival of fittest, but it is what the survival. It is what survival of the fastest. That is what is required. So this is the concept of fast power, and then we studied about the fifth type of power, which was called as the sharp power. That is the power of propaganda, the power of cyber security, using media and etc. to influence the others. Countries like Russia, China, they are expert in this. So these are the types of power which we have been discussing. Next, let us talk about a bit called as strategic autonomy. We often discuss this term in newspaper. In every day-to-day life you hear about that India. Even the Prime Minister says this in Shangri-La dialogue, that strategic autonomy is the central pillar of a foreign policy. What is this strategic autonomy? See, strategic autonomy means the ability of the country to take independent foreign policy decisions without being constrained without being constrained in any manner, without being constrained in any manner. If you do this, if you do this, then you are having strategic autonomy. That is, it is a foreign policy posture of a nation that maintains an independent foreign policy without any constraint, any external force. This word is important. Without being constrained. Let me just highlight it for you. The word constraint is important. Now, what do you mean by constraining? Constraining means that it should not be, that decision should not be imposed, or you can say liability for the country. The country should be free. Now, see how. Now, see, let us say if India joins, let us say NATO. Now, we all know that NATO is a military defense, collective defense alliance which was formed to protect the European countries from the influence of communism. Okay. Now, if India joins NATO, then India has to adjust its foreign policy according to the principles of NATO. So now, now NATO was against USSR and Russia. Now, automatically, India also becomes against Russia, and we know that India, Russia is our childhood friend. It is a time-tested friend. Then how can you, how can you just make convert that friend into an enemy? By joining NATO. And that is where now you lose your strategic autonomy. You lose your independent ability to take the foreign policy decision. And now whatever NATO asks, you have to do. You have to do. And therefore your relationship with Russia, your relationship with Russia gets constrained. Is this clear, guys? Is this clear? Your relationship with Russia gets constrained and you lose out the strategic autonomy. So this is what the term strategic autonomy means. In it simply means that the sole right, we have the sole right to take all the decisions independently, and we will we will we are not bound by any such alliance. We are not part of any such alliance which you can say restricts us, which hinders, yeah, which takes away this ability to take the independent foreign policy decision. And when we are doing this, we are called as strategic autonomy. Strategic autonomy. Is this clear? Is this clear, guys? So that is why even if you see that recently when a lot of FDI restrictions were uh, imposed imposed on our neighbors, then what did the external affairs minister say? That this is strategic autonomy. We are protecting our own interest. We do not find these FDI in interest of nations, and we are not bound by any such treaties, and therefore we are restricting FDI. And the Chinese, they blamed India for violating the WTO norms, etc. But India clearly said that we are strategic autonomous. We are strategic autonomous. Prabhakar Kumar, the complete course on PSIR optional is starting on 2nd November from, if you want to study, अगर आपको मुझसे पढ़ना है, please come on 2nd November Unacademy Plus and just use my referral code the PSIR Club. You will get access to all the classes. These are just sample classes happening, just a crash course which is going on. Simply use my referral code the PSIR Club and you will get access to all the classes. Just one subscription and get access to all the classes. I'm just giving you insights about how to prepare, discussing some important concepts of political science, and that is how it is. Are you getting, guys? Just giving you insights about. Is this clear, guys? Everyone. Should we proceed forward? Let us discuss a few important concepts, then we can end the class. Tomorrow also we will have at 11. Tomorrow also we will be having at 11. So every day for next 4 days we will be having at 11 a.m. Same channel, Unacademy Expedition channel. You can join us. Let us discuss a new concept called as balance of power. Let me give you an introduction, then we can cover this tomorrow. Let us talk about the new concept as called as balance of power. Now, what is the balance of power means? What do you mean by balance of power? It is simply if you see that this is a seesaw game which you have seen. Now, if I keep a stone here, this will look like this. And if I keep a stone here, it will look like this. It will look like this. So balance of power is basically based on this concept that if you want to be, if you want peace and stability, if you want peace and stability to prevail, if you want peace and stability to prevail in international politics, then ensure that power remains power remains distributed. It remains distributed. That it avoids concentration of power in the hands of one, so that the one cannot dominate, and it cannot establish its hegemony. This is the simple concept of balance of power. Means you take this power and you divide it into different segments. And these are what segments? These are just countries. Now, if power is divided to maximum players, then it becomes very difficult for one particular country, let us say this country, to dominate. This cannot just dominate like this. And that is why here what happens is that peace remains. Peace and stability, global peace and security remains in international politics. So, my question is, what if someday this guy tries to dominate? He increases his power and his power is going hard and hard. Then what happens is, how will you stop, sir? How will you stop? Okay. Then these people come together, combine and form alliance against this guy. This people who was trying to dominate, and his power automatically automatically gets what? Neutralized, or I can say reduced. Simple as that. It is as simple as that. So this is the main concept of balance of power, that you ensure that power is divided among important players so that no one particular can dominate, no one particular country can try to become the hegemon and dictate terms. Because when one becomes a hegemon, one becomes you can say the dictator, then what happens is then simply that one person, he starts to destroy the world. Just like you can say Hitler, what was he doing? What was he aiming? So just like Napoleon. So that is why balance of power is a very important concept when it comes to political science and especially international relations. Now, balance of power, see, it is not a new term. It is definitely not a new term, and it is one of the oldest concepts of political science. And let me tell you, the entire Westphalian world order, the entire Westphalian world order was based upon the concepts of political science. Entire Westphalian world order. And in fact, in international relations, international theory, it is said balance of power. David Hume, he says it is nothing but common sense. David Hume says that it is common sense. As long as common sense remains relevant, balance of power will never go away. Balance of power is an maxim. What is maxim, sir? It is an old age dictum. It is very natural statement, very truth. You will find it in everyday international politics. There is some kind of balance of power going on. And so long as the common sense is relevant, David Hume says balance of power will always remain relevant. Is this clear, guys? Is this clear? Are you with me? Oh yeah. It was a chief characteristics of Westphalian world order, right from you can say 1848 to 1914. The entire peace which was being dictated in Europe was due to this balance of power. Alliances were being formed in such a way so that one particular power could not dominate. That is how balance of power takes place. One country which is known for expert in balancing of power, one country which is expert in that, and that you can say is Britain. Britain is an expert player when it comes to balance of power, and it is said the Britishers have converted this balance of power into fine arts. They have converted it into fine arts. The policies of divide and rule, the policies of divide and rule and all that, they are all part of what? They are all part of balance of power. Whenever British sees that, oh, this side is on losing, it starts to support so that it strengthens and gets dominated to B. So that is why Britishers, they have enjoyed the most benefits of these balance of power. They are an expert in this. Now see, one important aspect of this balance of power, it is said that balance of power, balance of power is a very, it is a very murky, it is a very subjective, it is a very gray concept. It is a very gray concept. And there is no clear cut you can say definition of this. Not only definition, you can say it is a very ambiguous concept. Different people interpret it in different way. Some support balance of power, some oppose balance of power. Like if you are Pandit Nehru will say balance of power is nothing but nervous state of peace. It is a very shaky condition. It is a very nervous condition. Anytime there might, like, there can be a bomb blast, there can be war, right? So it is a very murky, it is a very ambiguous concept. And now balance of power is not that much used because the world has changed. The world is highly complex interdependence. But in earlier times, balance of power dictated peace. Balance of power, the peace, whatever peace you saw for the till the First World War, till 100 years, right from 1848 to 1914, the peace was through the balance of power. Okay, guys, is this clear? Is this clear? Okay, so let us keep it here for the day, and we can continue this from tomorrow. Tomorrow also at same time we'll be having the class at 11 a.m. sharp. You can join me on the Unacademy Expedition channel, and this is about me. If you don't know me still, my name is Sumit Kapoor, and I teach live on Unacademy Plus from 2nd November. From 2nd November, we are starting a new batch, complete course on PSIR optional by me, and you can join Unacademy Plus. And if you want to join, then just use my referral code, the PSIR Club. If you do that, if you do that, you will get 10% off the PSIR Club. This is my referral code. You will get 10%. So just apply and come on the board. And from 2nd November we'll start. And yes, tomorrow we'll continue. We'll discuss some more important concepts of the political science, and then we can take away. So last 2 minutes we'll have doubt session. Then we'll end the class. So please ask your doubts. Okay. Now we'll end the class, and that's it, guys. See you tomorrow at